The Mysteries of MagnetFlipper. This is all that remains after he wiped his online presence without an apparent cause, late in 2011. A complete compilation of his surviving videos, related to his research in the fields of electromagnetism, magnetic polarities, zero-point energy theory, and developed prototypes. RIFE or Royal Raymond Rife medical theory, and a prototype magnetic scalar wave generator. And more beyond those listed. Much of this is based in the theories initially established by Nikola Tesla. Tesla spent just months in Colorado Springs in 1899. During that short time, the scientist started the first crucial experiments towards what would become the wireless technology we use today. It is a weird coincidence that MagnetFlipper claims to have made these videos in the region. His ideas are further based on the works of researchers pursuing the theoretical and heavily criticized over unity, that is the search for free energy. Their names are Teriel Kaplan-Adz, Joseph Newman, Howard Johnson, and more. This realm is a field often put to the wayside as pseudoscience, or are claimed to be used as the basis of financial scams. This is largely because the theory behind such devices that propose free energy violates the law of mass energy conservation. While you should keep this in mind, and be wary of such risks and criticisms, keep an open mind by approaching a problem with a mindset of, how could this work, rather than why wouldn't it? Furthermore, this also continues the mystery behind MagnetFlipper himself. For example, consider the material resources seen in the video. It's no small feat to acquire some of the observed instrumentation and equipment. I've also researched into the depths of the internet, to provide context from online debates found from the period of publication, which offer further, never-before-seen, context to much of what you see. Do not disregard Occam's razor and the Dunning-Kruger effect. Critical thinking is a necessity. This compilation contains every remaining clip that I've managed to locate, in the highest possible definition. It is the only one of its kind. Much of what you see has not seen the light of day for 15 years, yet curiously, some of what he claims to demonstrate may have been vindicated over time, with some research possibly suggesting that he was ahead of the curve by 10 to 15 years. Finally, those that are intimate with UFO and UAP lore, may understand how some of these ideas, regardless of validity, may underpin elements of the UAP phenomenon, specifically anti-gravity technology, zero-point energy, and dynamic magnetism. This is where enthusiasts may find entertainment, but also where you must be careful to think critically, while entertaining these ideas, as when you take them away from MagnetFlipper's independent works, the ideas often delve deeply into conspiratorial narratives which, often require bigger, and harder to evidence, background stories to justify.
Hello, this is Al, aka MagnetFlipper on YouTube. I made this video to show in fact that magnets have more than one field. Here is a magnet sitting in water, sitting in a glass jar, sitting on a metal plate, with a plastic insulator between the magnet and the metal plate. I apply a voltage, and what do you see? You see a force field that's being generated around the magnet. What it is basically, it shows one of the hidden fields of a magnetic flux at double vortex that the magnet has present all the time, that it's spinning in fact magnetic particles, and the magnetic particles are invisible according to the standard science model. They do not exist, and here is validation in fact that it does exist. Okay, this experiment can be done even by a high school student. You can see the field is clockwise. The magnet is providing the vortex. It is a hidden magnetic field that is not validated by science. Here I flip the magnet over. Now the field is going to rotate counterclockwise. Please study this video as it is extremely important in further development of the magnetic fields for propulsion, for drives, for electronic devices, for reactionless drives, and so on. This is probably the only video on YouTube that shows this kind of an effect. As standard science has not validated this, technically this is pseudoscience. This does not work. But in fact, it is true. You can see the tornado effect right here being generated by a voltage that cracks the water, that the magnet induces a spin. And there you go. This is not a spin of an electron around the wire. This is a magnetic field that is spinning. By applying a voltage, you cancel out one of the fields. So what you have is you have a torsional twist. Since the magnet's not moving, the bubbles are moving. Therefore, they show that a magnet has an invisible field, and it causes a torsional twist in the field. Please study this really carefully, as this is extremely important in the development of the future electrodynamic models. Only on YouTube. Validated through MagnetFlipper, Al, here on YouTube. Thank you very much for watching this. This is really an incredible moment.
Is a force. This is the same Lorentz force as in the Faraday homopolar motor. In the water, the flow seems very turbulent because there's different concentrations of magnetic flux throughout the volume of water. So some of the water feels more of a force than other parts.
Hello, this is Al, aka MagnetFlipper on YouTube. Magnetic flux spin validation. This little video that I made basically shows, in fact, conclusive proof that magnets generate a helical vortex, a tornado type of a magnetic field that is unknown to science. What I have here is basically a magnet, a chrome-plated neodymium magnet sitting in water, sitting on a metal plate with a little tiny insulator that's sitting on. And what I do is I basically apply a voltage to the side of the magnet, okay, inducing a helical vortex like a miniature tornado, basically through the gas bubbles that are being generated by the electricity. And it's inducing this magnetic flux to be shown by the frame dragging off the bubbles. It's absolutely incredible. This is, I don't think you're going to see this anywhere on YouTube. This is actually conclusive proof that, in fact, there's another field that magnets produce that is unknown to science that can be actually shown and generated with a very simple, inexpensive method. This looks like a tornado being generated like huge tornadoes, but it's being generated by purely purely electrical means. Here is this is basically rotating counterclockwise. The other video clip was showing clockwise rotation. It's absolutely incredible, and hopefully you'll be able to duplicate this. It's basically a very simple electrolyzer that can show this effect. Here, I reversed the polarity of the magnet. I flipped it upside down, and I apply a voltage to it. When I apply a voltage, the helical field is basically spinning clockwise in this area. And I have a description of why this is shown. It goes back to the 1980s to a man named Howard Johnson. This is an iron slug here to show to my critics that, in fact, that the helical field is generated by a magnetic field as opposed to a left and right hand rule of current flow through the wire. You can can see that there is no helical spin. This iron slug is the same size and the weight as the neodymium magnet, and there is no helical spin at all. So this is to all my critics saying that, in fact, this is being generated by a magnetic field flow through the wire. This basically here will show, in fact, that you can actually do some incredible discoveries based upon this unknown field, probably from anti-gravity to free energy to faster, better motors, also to weather phenomenon. I mean, look at this. What you have here is basically a tornado that's being generated on top of a magnet. You can study this in slow motion. You can add particles to it, and you have a tornado that you can actually generate right off the bat. And the science is virtually unaware that this magnetic field actually exists. I've never seen this anywhere on YouTube or any type of an explanation of how this happens. This is a slow motion view, and this is about 210 frames, that shows, in fact, the bottom of the magnet being generated like in a tornado, and the bubbles begin to form. They're being pulled by the magnetic field as this thing is spinning. And you're going to have a nice, beautiful tornado on top of that. I call it a magnetic vortex. And if you do a search on magnetic vortex, the only thing that's out there is that was discovered by the Germans at the University of Munich in January of this year. And basically it's revolutionary what they discovered. This only validates the fact that you can actually have a helical spin. And I'm suspecting that the helical spins are everywhere. They're underpinning of the part of the universe that scientist is talking about. Based upon the devices that you can make upon this is basically healing devices. You can generate tremendous amount of storage in memory cores, in memory cards for computers, faster processors, bigger and more powerful motors, and applications just endless. This is really shocking that you can actually induce a magnetic field spin like this in a magnet. Now, I'm not sure if this magnet is in fact causing the field, or if it is a field that is generated, that is basically made by the magnet, and that's not seen by conventional iron filings and flux, as conventional science has us believing that in fact it's a static field. This is really a dynamic field. I'm going to let you watch this a little bit more, and please read the captions toward the end of the video because they're extremely important. Thank you for watching this video. Please read the captions at the end. Well, hello everybody. This is Al, Magnet Vortex, and this is another saga in an ongoing discovery of magnetism and what it really is. That's a magnet sitting on top of a little plastic piece here. It's got a single wire going to it. It's sitting in an aquarium. And what I'm showing you is basically it's a magnetic vortex that's coming off the magnet. Magnets have dual helical fields. They have actual fields that have not been identified yet. This is my attempt to show you, in fact, that magnetism is, in fact, an enigma. It's been since 160 years since James Clerk Maxwell and Michael Faraday have discovered this. So far, all scientists sitting say, hey, there's only north and south fields. But now, University of Bonn in Germany has discovered something really incredible. Guess what? Magnetic vortexes. What you're seeing here. They haven't figured out what they're going to do with it yet, because they're dealing with the nanoscale stuff. This here is a micro scale. This is very big. That magnet right there is about the size of a nickel, okay? It's got a little wire hooked up. It's 6 volts, okay? That's what's happening here. I'm going to apply a little more voltage here to it, okay? Please bear with me. Here we go. Okay, you can see the spin. Beautiful. Vortexes coming off the top. Now what I did is I backlit this thing with black light, and so the bubbles are seeing. And it's sitting on, again, a plastic plate. And the vortex is coming right off the top. There it is right there. The bubbles are dissociated hydrogen and oxygen gas. And you have an ionic carrier that carries the electrons. And basically the water is being split through the anode, which is basically one of the magnetic magnets, and you have a cathode. And here's the vortex coming right off the top. Who says that magnetism is basically a static field? They're wrong. They really are wrong. This is proof, in fact, that magnets are... It's not a very good view here. From here you can't see it. But there is a tornado right there. And just stunning. Absolutely stunning. I put this video up because I keep on shooting videos about magnets, and I keep on taking them off because after a while you wind up with 200 videos and nobody wants to watch them because they have to scroll through all the videos. So what I do is I put them up. People can make copies of them, disseminate them, anything that you want with them. Basically, magnetism is power. In the future, there's going to be free energy out there that's going to be based upon magnetism. Now, most scientists say, well, you can't harness magnetism. In fact, you can. There's Gene Manning just wrote a huge article about in Atlantis Rising this month, November-December issue, about magnetism. And you should get it. It's on a newsstand, Atlantis Rising. Please read it. Do your own research. If you don't believe it, then stick your head in your sand, okay? Or I don't know, get on Facebook. Do something else. Obviously, if you came across this video, you know there's something really weird going on out there. I was never taught this in high school, by the way. This right there. This really doesn't exist. They still don't teach you. They still teach you the same old 160-year paradigm of magnetic fields and north and south fields or static fields. That's a bunch of BS. The reason is because they want to control the oil and they control the basically nuclear power. And once you understand how magnetism works, you can actually generate all kinds of incredible devices. Free energy, in other words. Free energy means power for the people. That's what it's all about. I'm going to crank this up a little higher, okay? Bear with me. Here we go. Let it die out here, and you can watch this, okay? Again, there's no mystery here. It's just a magnet. Here we go. I'm going to give you a side view because it looks more stunning this way. Let me zoom in a little bit more. There you go. And I'm going to turn it on. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Who says there is no spin here? Look at this. It's absolutely amazing. It is an amazing field. Look at that. Frickin' tornado coming off the magnet. Now, what scientist is going to tell you? Oh, they're going to call it magnetohydrodynamic, which basically a fancy name means we really don't know what it is. But we gave it a name because we are aware of it, but we have no idea what it is. It's a frickin' tornado. That's what this is. Multiple vortexes. Check out Michael Schneider, researcher. Check out Howard Johnson, a researcher who is now deceased. He made the only perpetual motion machine that was published in 1980, permanent magnet generator. And nothing came out of that, because nobody believes that, in fact, magnetism has a helical spin. Actually, magnets have more than one field. And if you look at it, if you really study them, you can do some really incredible things. Again, this is just my small little attempt to basically kick the butts of scientists out there who says this is impossible. This is really possible. Okay, enough of my diatribe. Please, it's like I think at 3 o'clock in the morning I'm shooting this. So I'm a little wacky, but what the heck, man. Everything's good for society. Look at that. Isn't that pretty cool? I'm going to zoom a little more. If I can get in there. There we go. It is a tornado on top of the magnet. There we go. Beautiful. Look at that. And there's nothing underneath this thing. See that right there? Now how is that possible? Boy, some of these scientists really got to get their head out of the sand, because they're really totally missing out what's really going on. You got to do some experimenting besides just kind of sitting around and trying to figure out formulations on computers. Look at those bubbles. Isn't that cool? That's hydrogen and oxygen. I bet you can actually crack the water at a higher rate than if you use the standard Michael Faraday method of cracking the water producing hydrogen and oxygen gas. That is really cool. Alright, it's almost 6 minutes. I can put up 15-minute videos of on YouTube, because I'm at that time now. So, okay, I'm gonna quit talking, and I'm gonna zoom out a little bit, zoom in a little bit more, and you can actually see that. There it is, right there. A little more closer. Okay, you want more power? Guess what? I'm gonna give you more power. Okay, here we go. Turn that off. Okay. Wait for the bubbles to clear up. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Got a little noisy. There we go. Look at that. Real freaking tornado. Right on top of the magnet. Again, size of a nickel. That's what this is. In an aquarium, about 10 gallons. Got some baking soda in there. I got one electrode hooked up to a, I don't know, 12-volt battery charger. And that's pretty much it. That's what it's all about. And there's the top of the aquarium right there. Call it smoke underwater. Hey, it's my YouTube video, so I can say anything I want. What the heck? I give it a name. Magnet vortexes are smoke underwater. Besides, it's like almost 2 o'clock, or 3 o'clock, or anyway, whatever time it is. Zoom a little more. There we go. Hope it's in focus. I think it may be out of focus. Not sure. There it is. There it is. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Tornadoes underwater. I just passed the 8-minute mark on this video. I don't know how far we can go. I'm going to go up a little bit above that so you can actually see some scale to it. Okay? There we go. Okay? Well, bear with me. Yeah, I can't see anything here. You can see definitely that it's spinning. And I'm going to zoom out. There we go. There it is. Okay, I'm going to turn this puppy off, and you have a good night, huh? Okay? Adios from, I don't know, Al, Magnet Vortex, somewhere in Denver, Colorado, that is. Bye. Hello, this is Al, another video from Magnet Vortex. Please watch this and leave me comments. Thank you so much. Hello everybody, this is Al on Magnet Vortex on YouTube channel dealing with magnets and the ongoing saga with magnetism. What I have here is basically two nondescript metal pins, and they're highly polished, they're non-magnetic. As you can see, there's no magnetic field here. I have no magnetism in my hands, no magnets or anything like that. What I'm showing you here basically is like this. each one of these has a north field or a south field, but only a single pole. Okay, this one and this one. That means there's a pole here and there's no pole. Pole here and no pole. Okay, basically they're not magnetizable. They're not interacting with one another here at all whatsoever. This is a video I attribute to Howard Johnson, who was a professor at Virginia Tech in the 1980s, who pioneered a book called The Secret World of Magnets, Spintronics. He got a patent for a perpetual driven magnetic motor that nobody so far has built. And here's a validation of one of his effects. Okay, here we go. Okay, now these things now are magnetized. If you don't believe me, take a look. Okay, now these are extremely well magnetized. Okay, there you go. Okay, there it is. Boom. Now what did I just do? Very basic. They're attracting to one another. There's no magnetism underneath the table. What it is very basic. Okay, I'll show you the effect. There's magnetism here, and it releases it. Okay, it's a magnetic field, and then it evaporates. See? Where'd the magnetic field go? Very basic. No field, no magnetism here at all. Okay, except here. Okay. Boom. This is a monopole effect. Okay, means there's one pole and no other pole. Okay, here we go. This is here and no pole here. Okay. The effect is here. Okay, this is real world. This isn't some fake pseudoscience stuff. This is really real. And what we know about magnetism and magnetics is hard to comprehend. That we know very little about what magnetism is. We can quantify it, but we really don't understand what it is. Here it is, real world. Okay, try to duplicate this in some research lab. Let me know if you can do it. I don't think you can. And to all my critics, you don't know a lot about magnetism. Magnetism is an enigma. It's a primary force in the universe. Electricity is a byproduct. Now that's my opinion. And have a nice day. I hope you watch some more of my videos under Magnet Vortex. Goodbye.
Okay, so in nature, when you have magnets that you're familiar with as children and so on, they have a north and a south pole, just like the Earth itself has a north pole and a south pole. And so it behaves like a little stick with a north pole stuck at the end and the south pole at the other end. Now, when you try and separate these, the problem with magnets is when you split them, you end up with another south pole and another north pole. So each part that you split, you end up as being a north and south and a north and south. So you can't allow this north pole and the south pole to become free to act independently. What a magnetic monopole is, if you imagine that somehow you're able to liberate the north and south pole at the end of your bar magnet, then that is a magnetic monopole. It will create magnetic flux lines, as they're called. So you can think of magnetism as like as strings, as tubes, okay, emanating out of a north pole and going into a south pole. And they sort of go around in a loop, right through the magnet and then out the north and back in through the south. So they're like loops like this. What a magnetic monopole looks like is that it looks like a place where the north makes all these lines just come out, and the south where they all go in. What happens is when you create them, there'll be one north and one south, but they get lost from each other somewhere in the universe. They would separate completely and behave independently. And then you would have one place in space where these magnetic lines just come out, like all directions just coming out of a single point, and that's a magnetic monopole. It's a magnetic source. So it's like a magnetic charge. You're familiar with this in electric charge. Electric charge has charge lines coming out of positive charges and going into negative charges. Here, it's magnetic lines coming out of north poles and south poles. So it's a familiar idea, it's just in magnetism we don't have the equivalent of an electric charge. Now, magnetic monopoles, if you realize them, do give you equivalents of magnetic charge. That's why they're special.
How to replicate.
Hello, this is MagnetFlipper Al on YouTube, and this is another validation of helical spins of magnets. Enjoy this video. Hello everybody, this is MagnetFlipper on YouTube, Al, and this is my power supply here. I'm going to do a magnetic vortex spinner by MagnetFlipper. Here what you see is a couple of neomagnets. Here's a battery. This is looking from the top down like this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate you a field that is basically cancelled and that shows a helical spin of a magnet. This is primarily not a motor, but I call it a motor from lack of a better word, but it's actually a spinner. Okay, this is what I have here. Okay, what I have here is basically copper made out of sheet metal and brass screw right there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on top of that battery, and it's going to spin really fast. Okay, and these neomagnets down here are pretty powerful, as you can see. I made it so it's like really close so you can actually see this, and I hope you enjoy this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this on here like this. Okay, and we'll go like this and see if we can get this to go. There we go. And that puppy's moving pretty fast. You can see. That's what counter fields of magnetism can do. There is no irony here at all. Okay? It's actually really incredibly fast, isn't it? There you go. This is a magnetic vortex demonstrator. It shows, in fact, that when you cancel one of the fields, this is what you get. And that thing's moving like a banshee. I hope you enjoy this video. I'm going to try to stop it off here and see what you think. Here's a top view. And I'll just pull it off here in a second. It's called a magnetic vortex spinner by MagnetFlipper. And that thing is moving really fast. I'll stop it here. Ouch. Ooh, that's pretty tough. A lot of torque in there. As you can see, that's the unit right there. Very simple, nothing to it. And I hope you enjoy this. I'll put it back on like this. Goes on like this. And I can get it on that little hole there. There we go. And this is conclusive proof that magnetism is more than just a north-south field. Is in fact a vortex field that is generated by a magnet. Basically, you cancel out one of the magnetic fields, this is what you have. A really incredible, very powerful magnetic field that is a vortex. Again, thank you very much for watching. I'll zoom out here a little bit. The double magnetic vortex was discovered by Howard Johnson in the 1980s. This is what the particles really look like. Science is unaware of what you see here.
Hello everybody, this is, what do we call this? Cold electricity. This light's being lit by, we'll just say, Compilation device. It is, it's supposed to be normal light color, but obviously there's no yellow or anything like that, but it should be yellow, but it's absolutely blue. I will post a little bit more on how this is supposed to work, but it is definitely really quite interesting. There it is. Absolutely freaking blue light. Don't you just love this? We'll post more in the future.
Rife helium gas plasma tube is shown in this picture. Here I show that a simple helium plasma generates a large magnetic field, which is a scalar wave that penetrates everything and is faster than the speed of light. Here is my new generator that I put together. It's a magnetic scalar wave generator.
Okay, here's the penetron tube, and it's set up with a, I can show you this. It's set up with a reflector in the back, and there it is right there. It's looks like it's sitting in it's a Weber grill, and the whole device is put together basically inside. Some wheels we got here on this. We got a power. We got a RF meter and an ammeter and our plug connector and so on. You can actually see it's put together with different parts. The tube is about 8 inches, it's about 24 inches long. So you actually vary the dimensionality of it too also here. It's actually pretty small. So definitely pretty small. It's highly directional, and no major issues on it. Okay.
Plasma tube light is the only very small part of this effect. These strange waves have the ability to penetrate metals and shake apart metals with no heat.
I got about 500 watts on this tube right now, so I can crank it up a little bit more. And my SWR is about 15 watts. I'm getting really good transfer of power. There it is right there. And I'm modulating at over 100%, so it's actually pretty good. I'm about 10 amps. I'm going to start reducing my power here, so here we go. Alright, thanks for watching.
This video shows the magnetic scalar wave as it extends to about 25 feet. RF radio wave drops off at 2 feet. The 500 watts of RF is converted into a magnetic scalar field.
Okay, I got the tube on here. Now I'm going to show you something real interesting. This is my magnetic field right here, and I'm moving away, and my magnetic component is still quite high. Right here, it's really quite high. I still have I'm probably about 8 feet away from the tube. I go closer, I can see my magnetism is just increasing. It's a huge magnetic field being generated this way and here. So it's quite a bit of a large directional field, especially if I force it to this way here. Quite a bit. And if I go back a little bit, you should be able to diminish it, but it's not doing. There it is right there. If I can sweep across it, you can actually see that. Should be no magnetic field at all whatsoever. And they have one hell of a magnetic field here. See that? Right here. And I'm about that far away from the tube. Show you that. There's the tube and there's my magnetic field right here. Varying, okay? I'm going to change it to the sum. Obviously my electrical and magnetic field component's pretty high. If I go to radio, my radio field is almost none whatsoever here. So unless I get very close to the tube here, which when I get up here to this tube is quite high. Okay, I'm going to shut this puppy off and that'll be it. Thank you for watching.
A very slow frame rate shows plasma striations that are making curved and straight lines. It is these artifacts that make plasma modulated fields do extraordinary things, such as time shifting, alteration of matter, and faster than light speed scalar waves. Okay, this is what the plasma field really looks like. I'm shooting off a vacuum tube monitor. There's a scan line that's coming up that doesn't have anything to do with a plasma field. And you can actually see the parallel lines that are being generated off that plasma. And this is, I believe, the parallel lines, not this line right here, what you're seeing here, because I can control that line right there. Okay, it's a parallel lines to the plasma field. And these are the electrodes right here. I'm shooting off a vacuum tube monitor because I have no other way of doing this. I have a software that allows me to do this. You actually see this. It's really quite striking. The fields are alternating current, and not that line right there again. This is what's causing the magnetic fields to be generated by this plasma tube. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can slow it down a little bit, and see if I can show you a little bit more what's actually happening here. Here we go. I'm going to slow it down. And a little bit more. And there it is right there. That's what's going between the electrodes right here. Really quite interesting. They look like miniature alternating current lines. And this miniature alternating current lines are the ones that are causing these scalar potentialized waves. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll produce some more videos. I need to now show you, in fact, that these waves have the ability to penetrate through 3 inches of steel, and I travel fast at the speed of light. What I'm going to do is I'm going to basically speed it up a little bit here. It'll go to normal speed, and this video should be finishing up here pretty slowly, pretty quickly. And we'll play it back a little faster. And there it is, right there. And that's my other electrode right here. And you'll see the electrode being pumped and so on. And it's almost over. There it is right there. That's my modulation, basically, to the tube. Play back to normal speed. And the striations are quite evident right here. I'm pumping this basically with like 2 sine waves offset. They're in the audio range, about 19,000 hertz, and it's interferometric waves. That's what you're seeing here. It's really quite interesting that, in fact, I discovered this artifact. I didn't see that before, but it's not a camera artifact, by the way, if anybody wants to see this. It is not at all. The lines are absolutely parallel. And I'm slowing down here. And that's it. Thank you again for watching. I'm going to shut this off.
Okay, these are our harmonics. That's what John Bedini was talking about, pump wave. You can see all the harmonics within the sine wave here. That's what we got here. Quite a bit of variation. There's a modulation right there. I'm about 150 watts or so. Raise it up a little bit. We're using full ramp waves here. Decent amount of power. There's our frequencies right there. Pretty violent. I'm going to show you something else here before my camera runs out. There's my pump. Right there. You see that? I'm going to go to manual. Okay. And that's what we got here. Absolutely amazing. Okay.
What you have just seen is basically a variation in frequency. What I have is basically 3.5 megahertz carrier wave. What happens when you modulate, when you add audio carrier to the modulation of a set carrier frequency, the frequency in the plasma tube changes, and it totally changes, throws everything out the window which you know about plasmas. Basically, it's like this, what John Bedini says. Rife found a method of basically heterodyning or mixing a couple frequencies in a plasma tube, and this is what caused the devitalization of the bugs. That's all I wanted to say in the end. Thank you again.
That concludes the compilation of what footage survived the 10 to 15 years since his online presence on YouTube was wiped. MagnetFlipper's scientific theories and demonstrations can be found elsewhere on YouTube, but I believe this is the only complete collection currently available. It's my hope this facilitates research in future for those who remember his channel or stumble upon the mystery in more recent times. Through this video, I've tried to provide as much context as possible, from different perspectives through my research project on MagnetFlipper, in an attempt to find the answers to many questions that still remain. You're welcome to engage in discussions below, or follow the links in the description for more information if you're interested in viewing his other category of content. UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon footage that he captured himself, resulting in interesting video captures that may demonstrate traits aligned with the modern understanding of the alleged objects. See my channel for more. And of course, thank you for viewing.
Hello everybody, and this is Al on Magnet Vortex. I had some questions about this magnetic brass, and this is metal brass magnetic shavings, and I'm going to show you what they look like. I'm going to take it out of focus because I have this camera set on fixed focus. Okay, this is what it looks like. This, basically, that's close. And what I have here is I have a pretty powerful magnet over here. I'm going to stick this underneath. Okay, here we go. This is what we got here, okay? Everything is pretty much magnetic. Let's see. As you can see, everything is... I'm trying to keep it in focus, so my paper's folding, but you can actually see the entire... all the domains of all the brass that are changing. There is no iron here, by the way, guys. This is like totally magnetic brass, which means it's tin and copper. It is totally magnetic. Okay, now I can't tell you how this was done, but this is to show some of my critics, in fact, that they believe that magnetism is in fact an aspect of steel and or iron and cobalt, where in fact it's not true. Magnetism is pervasive, and you can magnetize just about any kind of metal. And here's the answer. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick another clip, and I'm going to put this into the water. Okay, here we go. A little bit more. I'll run this around here. This is I'm probably about 2 inches from the lens of the camera, so. And it's really definitely moving. There it is, right there. There's no iron in here at all. This almost looks like gold. I put this brass on a wheel, and I ground this off with corundum, which is basically garnet abrasive material. Not the red specks that you see is probably from the garnet still, from the grinding belt. Okay. And that's pretty much it right there. Okay, this is all to all my buddies on overunity.com. In fact, copper is in fact magnetizable. Okay, thank you so much for watching. And please watch my videos on magnetic vortex, or magnet vortex. Hello everybody, this is Al on Magnet Vortex. This is the continuing saga of magnetism and the effects that it has on materials. This is basically the iron filings, except there's no iron in here. These are brass filings. Yes, this is brass filings. They're sitting in the water, and I have this really cool neodymium magnet over here. There it is right there, it's in focus, and here is the material, and here is the material. Basically, I'm moving around. There it is right there. If I can keep it in focus for you. And there it is. Okay. Again, all this I'm showing you here is basically doable. It's all being done by amateurs with no scientific training. Okay. We do experiments and we watch, and we basically are running the university system, competitors, okay? This is all being done by people in the garages and basements, scientific advancement. So there you go. One for the amateurs. Thank you so much for watching. Looks like gold from the bottom of the 15,000 feet. Isn't that nice? That is a really nice sample right there. 15,000 feet deep. Gold from 15,000 feet. Yes. It really is. You don't see that quite often. Okay. Hope you guys like this. This is shocking. This came out of it 15,000 feet deep. This is in Colorado, by the way. Denver. Have a good day. Hope you enjoy this. Good news.